it could get a little emotional.
Hang on.
Highly charged.
There's a few other people saying they can't hear us. There's a few other people saying they can't hear us. Some said they could, some saying they couldn't.
No.
Now, let me get a show of hands, because I tell you what, if you couldn't hear us, that's not very good. Show of hands, who couldn't hear us just now? I can hear you now, I can hear you now. Some people couldn't hear us.
Wow.
Right, and they can now. Well, that, you know what that means is maybe we've got to do the show from the top.
I'm joking.
No, seriously, they couldn't hear us. So I must say, because for those that couldn't hear us, let's make sure you've got this, okay? Do it from the top again, says Dan. Do it from the top. That's what he says. What I was saying earlier, for those that missed it, for some reason, some could hear, some couldn't. I've just changed one of the settings, so I don't know what went on there. I'm saying we've got Christmas decorations up this evening. That's what I was doing, waving my hand there. I was saying, look, it's a bit different. We're both in the same studio. And Ian said, it's nice to be in this studio. It's much more comfortable than his. We then talked about Property CEO. We talked about the next 45 minutes that we're going to have a bit of fun. Ian said we're going to cover all the latest news and bits and pieces like that to make sure you enjoy it. And I said it's going to be 45 minutes of fun, whatever. I also just said that you're going to miss us. And I know that's going to be difficult in December. But I did say to you, pull together and you'll be fine. You'll get through. If necessary, and I know this is a helpful tip for some people, we do a lot of hearts and minds stuff here. Download from propertyCEO website a picture of myself and Ian, put it on your mantelpiece, and just look at that between now and Christmas. It will keep you going. And then I said to Ian, what's on tonight's show? And he said,
we are going to be, well, I'm going to try and guess the 5 things that Ritchie rants about most when it comes to property development. For those of you that know Ritchie, you'll know that he does like a good rant. And so we're going to be, it's going to be quite an emotionally highly charged evening, I think. So I'm going to try and pick the ones that send you off into fireworks night.
Yeah, I tell you what, I'm not known to have a rant. I know Ian said that, but I'm not known to do that. Anyway, let's see who's on this evening and who can now hear us. So I've got who have I got on? I've got Emily on. I've got Ranjit from Property Investor News. He's on.
That's a surprise.
Yeah, that's a surprise. Great magazine, that, worth a read. Roma's on. Good evening, Roma. Welcome here. Jan's on. Hello, Jan. Hello, Dan. Eve on. Pardeep. Wow, Pardeep. Long time no see. Keep in touch. Don't be a stranger. Cheryl's on. Jack's on. Carol's on. Joe's on. Thought you'd had enough of us, Joe. Maltese Falcon is on.
Oh, I wonder who that is.
Well, let's have a look. That is Dom. Maltese Falcon is Dom, because he lives in Malta. One of our students who lives in Malta. We're international, you know. Teresa's on. Hello, Teresa. Ella's on. Good evening, Ella. Hope you're well. I know you weren't too well yesterday, but hopefully, you know, you're well today. Gavin's on, and he says, or at least what's left of him. Gavin's not been well, so a big for Gavin. Gavin, look, pull through, mate. You'll be fine. Raymond's on. Philip's on. Debbie's on. Charlotte's on. Jackie's on. Gabriella's on. They're all on here. So we're having a good evening. And who else has said what? Let's have a look. Maltese Falcon, he says, much better with no sound. Oh, that was at the beginning. It's like watching Zig and Zag. That's not very nice, is it? Not very nice at all.
You Zig or?
I don't know who I am. I don't mind being whoever. Let's have a look. I can hear you now. They're all saying, just managed to get the sound on. Someone said I could hear you. Okay, that's a bit odd. Do it from the top. Brilliant. Audio sorted. Yeah, we sorted it now. It's all good. Falconer's here too. Okay, excellent. And Joe says, I enjoy listening to you guys. Hopefully we will dog things together. We would dog. I don't know what that is. Oh, do great things together. I thought it was dog something. It's all merged together. We would do great things together.
I know where that was going.
Hopefully. Anyway, got any news items here?
I have actually, which has nearly got buried in amongst the boiled sweets, fly spray and deodorant that seems to be littering this side of the studio. But I managed to dig out a few things. So we've got about brownfield development. It seems to be an ongoing issue. The government, the housing minister, has basically been talking about some further untapped potential in the world of brownfield development. So they want to go further and faster, basically accelerating the development of brownfield land. So basically we've got all these properties that could be converted into housing, and they want to convert those. I think one of the interesting points is about council. Since 2017, councils have been required to have brownfield registers, so register of all the brownfield land in their demise. Most of them haven't bothered. I think the pressure is now going to be on to update those lists. So certainly more focus on brownfield. So whilst lots of other things are kind of in abeyance with the planning reform and everything, brownfield is certainly top of the government's agenda. Got another one here. Let's have a look at this one. This one from the Telegraph. So this is the usual seesaw roller coaster ride that is house sales. So as you will know, house sales are either absolutely fabulous or they're absolutely terrible. And last month they were absolutely terrible. So worst October for house sales since the financial crisis. Lowest October since 2012. And I think probably fairly obviously the hangover has begun post all of the stamp duty stuff that's been going on this year. But as ever, estate agents are talking it up. They still see quite a lot of buoyancy in the market. And I think we're likely to see that it's not going to be a complete downward spiral. There seems to be a lot of demand there, although interest rate increases could have a bit of an impact. We shall see as we go forward.
Any good news?
Good news. Nope. Well, I've got this one. Just an interesting one, actually. Obviously, Bojo's been on a bit of a mission, as you know, in with COP and all that, in terms of the environment, and announced that new homes and workplaces will be required to install electric vehicle charging points. So apparently, the details on that are coming later. Apparently, we need 480,000 by the end of the decade. At the moment, we've got about 6. We've got 25,000. So a little way to go. They're going to be putting down the regulations as to what electrical points we need to put into our new builds by the end of this year. So yeah, that's in advance, but something that's going to be coming in, I'm sure, and having impact on what we build going forward. There we go. That was the news. I haven't got anything about a cat stuck up a tree or anything like that. Is that?
Well, interesting. I mean, I didn't do any news items this week because all I read was Hello Magazine. So, but I didn't want to do anything out of that. I tell you what, here's a chance for a little survey. We don't normally do surveys, but let's do a survey tonight. Hands up, who's got an electric car? Let's just get a feel for who's got an electric car. How many's got an electric? 1, 2. Oh, no, there was one hand up on and off.
Sorry.
Yeah, not many of you. Do you know, I'm looking, I reckon that's less than 10% of you on tonight have got electric cars. Wow, it's interesting, isn't it? I don't have one either. And some of our students have electric cars and they're trying to persuade me that I should buy an electric car, but I'm not sure yet. I'm not sure.
Does
hybrid count? Jan says, does hybrid count? Not really. There was a program on this week, I believe, and it was talking about, I think, the hydrocarbons or something that come out of a hybrid, and they're worse than diesels. I've got a diesel, and my sort of daily runner's a diesel, and apparently there's a modern diesel, because I only bought it last year. That's probably better than your hybrid. So there we go. I've got electric and wouldn't recommend it, says Jack. Oh, hope who, says Jan. Oh, hope who, because she's got a hybrid. I thought she was swearing then. We don't use words like that, Jan, not on this show. Right. So tonight, a little bit different. Okay, we are going to try and squeeze some questions in. So if you put some questions in, please do so. If you've got some, put them in the chat box. We'll do our best to answer them. But Ian's going to try and guess my pet hates and just see if he can provoke me. But I won't be provoked. Go for it.
Well, I've known you for a while now, and there have been a few instances, I'll be honest, been quite embarrassing at times when you have gone off on one. In fact, you've almost gone off on 2. And I reckon I've captured most of them here.
Go on,
ones that I've seen you.
Teresa's put one in the chat box. Let's see if you're right.
I'm sure there'll be a few coming in. So this one, it's a little 3-letter word. Doesn't actually normally mean something quite positive for most people. But in the case of Ritchie, it does seem to be a bit of a red rag to a bull. So you love, don't you, first-time developers doing pub conversions.
Teresa's put, one of Ritchie's pet hate newbies is newbies developing a pub. Yes, pubs. I'm not going to be drawn on this. I'm not going to get wound up. I'm not going to get cross.
Seething.
No, look, it is. Okay, here's another survey. Give us a wave if you'd like to develop a pub. Give us a wave. Why? Why are you putting your hands up? Ella, put your hand down. You do not want to develop a pub. Your hand went straight down then. I'll be round. Guys, look. So why do you want to develop pubs? Why do people think? I think probably because people see pubs and people, we all go in a pub and like a drink every now and then. I'm sure, even if you don't drink, it's quite a nice social atmosphere. And it just sort of seems to be, I don't know, it's this sort of crazy default that I'd like to develop a pub because you see them empty. People see them empty and around and about, and they go, I'll develop a pub. But despite me, I know to start with, I can understand to start with that you like the idea of developing a pub because you see them, they're empty. You go, that would make a great house. Because a lot of these pubs originally were houses, you know, that or great couple of flats. That would be good. It's got a nice big car park. But you can't develop pubs easily, okay? Pubs used to be protected as a community of asset value. It made them very difficult to convert, even with full planning permission. But what you want to do is stuff with permitted development rights. You want to make life easy. I tell you what, development is hard work. It's hard work. Those of you who are brand new, thinking about getting development, this is hard work. Those of you in it, you know it's hard work. Why make it more difficult? And what they did with pubs last year is they took pubs and they took them out of the use class they're in and they put them into what we call sui generis. That's Latin, isn't it?
It is.
Hey, look at me, bilingual. I might struggle with English, but I'm throwing a bit of Latin in there. This is again how we rock and roll. As I say, we've got decorations, we've got Latin.
With a punctuation next.
I doubt we'll do any of that. Anyway, so the thing is, they put these pubs into sui generis, and that means they're protected. They don't want you to convert pubs. Okay, they don't. The local planning authorities don't want. The government don't really want you to convert pubs. I don't know why, because a lot of these aren't needed. So I can tell you that. I can tell students that. And do you know what they do? They wind me up. And Teresa, you're on here tonight. You're one of those. You've done this. Don't look all innocent, Teresa. I know I can almost see you there. Don't forget, guys, we can see you as much as you can see us. You think your cameras aren't on, but maybe we can.
Oh, they've all gone.
Yeah, they're all gone. They're all disappeared. But look, Teresa, I know Teresa, she's talking about developing pubs. I just know. I've seen her in the room and I've seen that wry smile that says, oh, I wouldn't mind developing a pub. No, okay. Even when I tell you, don't bring a pub. Don't think about pubs. You're right, listen to Open Talk. Even if you're listening to this on the replay, maybe in 3 or 4 years' time, don't develop pubs, okay? There are easier things to do, much, much easier.
Petrol stations, for example. Anyway, have you exhausted?
Well, yeah, I guess in a way, just don't develop pubs. It's simple because they're not easy and there are easier things to do.
Fantastic. Okay.
Well, I told you, no, see, pubs.
Well, I quite enjoy it whenever we do our live deal days and have academy days, and students, bring pubs along just to wind you up.
They do it. They do it. I tell you, I'm an old man in my twilight years. I could have a dodgy ticker. You guys don't know this.
Okay. Well, let's see if we can work on that then. So number 2. I've on my list is that you think that first-time developers should really have a go at new build and land assembly.
Has someone sending these in? I just see Teresa's put a comment in. She said, I'd never look at a pub because you have scared me enough. Tom says, pubs, got it. I won't do one. Okay, Tom, Teresa, I don't scare people. But in a way I do. Do you know, and I do it for good reason. I want you to be successful. So what did you say? Land assembly?
And new build for new developers.
No.
Fresh out the box. What should you do? Let's dig a hole in the ground and build a house.
Well, I'll tell you what. Let's do another little survey because this normally comes up. Be honest with me, guys. Don't be shy. Ramika's just joined. Good evening to you. So hands up. Hands up. Who would like to develop some land assembly and go for planning and put some nice new houses on it? Give me a hands up. Be honest. Okay, so I've got Maltese Falcon, who's Dom. I've got Jack on there. There's quite a few of you on here. No, put your hands down, okay? Because otherwise I'm gonna single you out and be round, and I don't want to do that. I'm not an aggressive person by nature. Seriously, guys, you don't want to do land assembly. Maybe when you got a bit more experience, but it's a long haul. Now, I say this on the basis that most people that have worked with me previously, before I did propertyCEO, and I used to train people privately, and now in propertyCEO, you know, people that come to us and want to get education, they want to do something, they want to change their lives. Okay, they want to make these 6-figure sums of money. And I think people aren't get rich quick. That you guys know that you can't get rich quick in this, but you can get rich. But you don't want to get rich slow either, you know, because that's not what you want. And yeah, it takes you 6 months to get educated. I was asked this question today on a session. How long after that? Well, you know, after the 6 months, you could find a deal straight away. It might take another 12 months. Maybe it takes 12, 18 months, 24 months to get the deal out the back end. So let's say that is doing something with permitted development rights. Now, if you go down land assembly, and that means you've got to go for planning permission, well, in theory, you might say it takes 8 weeks or 12 weeks if it's a slightly more complex submission. But it takes a lot longer.
Do you want to explain what land assembly is for the benefit of those?
I'm going to talk about that in just a second. Yeah, but I'm just a bit rolled on the planning first of all. Ooh. So on the planning permission, before I talk about the assembly of land, okay, it doesn't matter whether it's land assembly or new build at the minute, but when you need plan permission, you're under the control of the planning authority, and they can take an age. They can throw all these policies at you, every policy that they've got locally. They can start throwing at you of what you've got to do, what you've got to comply with. They can ask for this report, that report, and so on and so forth. You've got to go and test if there's any, wild top-head crested yellow newts or saber-toothed tigers in the basement, or, twin-eared bats flying around or whatever. They can throw all that stuff at you. Okay, bats are protected, by the way. You go to jail if you get rid of them. So don't do that. Don't get rid of them. And so anyway, they can throw all these policies at you, and it can take a long time. I've known people where they've been 12, 18 months and still not got planning. So go for permitted development rights, but of course you can't do that on land. Land assembly, in some ways, is even worse because you're putting packages of land together. Whereas if you think about it, if you're going to do a permitted development scheme, you're going to buy a building, an old shop, an old restaurant, a gym, a bank, an old industrial building that's closed down, those sellers are motivated. They're motivated enough to say that they want to sell it in the first place. Okay. Secondly, they're motivated because probably it's empty and they're paying bills on it, so they want to get rid of it. Motivated sellers are great. Okay, they're ready to go, and you've got permitted development rights. Whereas on land assembly, you've got to convince Mr. and Mrs. Jones, Mr. and Mrs. Smith, other names of course are available, and you've got to convince them to sell you their bits of land. You've got to get all these, and you don't want them always talking, because how much you pay for that one, and then the last one's got a ransom strip on you. Okay, you've got to negotiate with all these people that don't want to sell, they're not motivated. You've got to then get it together, you've got to pull all that together, then you've got to go for full planning permission. So you've got unmotivated buyers, maybe one of them is, you've got to pull all these back gardens together, and then you've got to get planning permission. Why? I'd rather get a couple of propertyCEO pens. These are nice quality, available for Christmas, a small present, a nice little gift. I'd rather poke a couple of them in my eyes and, smash myself over the head with a propertyCEO mug. These aren't available. These are special order. But I'd rather do that because it's so hard work doing it. If you're up for the hard work, fine, you know what the risk is. But please, there's a much easier route, Ranchita says, okay, got it as well. No land development for me.
Excellent. And quite a few people are quite keen with the whole idea of poking your eyes out with pens and smashing you with mugs. Okay, is that it on number? We're on number 2.
I think so.
It's gonna be a long show.
I think so.
So, number 3 then.
Go on then.
It is absolutely critical that before you do the advanced strategy, that is property development, you must have done buy-to-let, HMOs, rent-to-rent, service accommodation before you dive in.
What are you telling me that or asking me that?
That's what I've heard.
Well, that's BS. Okay, and you know what that stands for, but we don't swear on this show because it's a family show.
There's a Jan who says poo a lot, I've noticed.
No, she said poo. That's really rude. I didn't like that, Jan. That's just not very nice, actually. Actually, I tell you what, just as an aside, slightly off piece, I tell you what you want to do, really concentrate hard on development, because otherwise, there was a guy at the back of our offices. We've got an old barn out in the country, and I laughed my socks off today. They'd come and empty the septic tank. So I could smell it when I walked out the office and across to the studio. And then there was some poor soul, and I looked out the back of our office window, and he was led on his belly, and he had his head in the septic tank, and he was poking around or something. And I thought,
job for life.
Oh, you should have listened at school, mate. You'd have been fine. I was tempted to even teach him for free to be a developer, to get him into something different. Bless him. Anyway, now so you're saying this whole thing, this myth. Okay, I talk about this sometimes when I'm out at events. People say, oh yeah, you want to get into property? Yeah, well, let's start with sourcing or rent to rent, as you say, maybe buy to let, and work your way up. And they say, if you're really good, you can do the advanced strategy of property development. It's a load of old fluff. Right? I know a lot of existing developers, seasoned developers, okay, and they just develop. They said, well, I want to be a developer, so that's what I did. I remember a student came to us, and he had serviced apartments. I said, oh, how are you getting on with them? Serviced apartments, it's like a hotel. And he said, I hate it. I said, you hate it? He says, yeah, I've got HMOs as well. And he said, I hate them. Not quite as much as the serviced apartments, but I hate them. And I said, I bet you got some buy-to-lets. He went, I got a few of them. And he said, they got blooming tenants in. They're a nightmare. I said, why are you doing all that then? I was told I had to. And I laughed. I said, who told you that? Anyway, look, I'm a little bit cynical sometimes, but who tells you that? Ask yourself, where have you ever heard that from? And I'm not knocking people that train this stuff, okay, because we don't. We just train development. But generally, the people that would tell you that are the people, often, if I'm being a bit cynical, that have courses available in sourcing, rent to rent, buy to let, etc. And wouldn't it be great if you did that course and you went on to this course and that course? It's a great business model. And do you know, for some people that does work. Okay, so if you're the sort of person that goes, yeah, I really want to, I want to get some, let's say you need passive income. If you want to get some passive income because you need to leave your job, then yeah, building up a buy-to-let portfolio is good, but it can take you a long time. You know, well, I mean, I did a presentation in Manchester last week. I was in Manchester and I was like making people think about where they want to go, how long they've got to get to where they want to get to. And I said to someone, so how many buy-to-lets you got? And he said, well, no, I said, how much are you making out your buy-to-lets? Guess how much he was making, guys? This is, you know, wow, hold the front page, £300 a month out of each buy-to-let. I went, oh, that's brilliant, that isn't it? That's life-changing. I said, how many have you got? And I think it was 5. I said, you got 5 buy-to-lets. How long did it take you to get them? He went, 10 years. 5 buy-to-let. I mean, that's good, but 5 buy-to-lets, 300 quid a month. Now, I worked that out as £1,500 a month.
You're very, you're hot on your maths.
Didn't even use a calculator,
yeah,
guys.
Very impressive.
£1,500 a month. You can't live off of that. That's not life-changing. So I said, okay, in another 10 years, you might get to 3,000 if you're lucky. Look, if you need that and that's what you want to do, that's fine. But you know, you can combine development and building a portfolio much, much quicker. In that 10 years, it could have earned easily $1 million.
You could do both, couldn't you?
He could earn 10 million if he really wants. So I think the thing is, okay, you don't have to stick to that route. If you want to be a developer, be a developer. If you want to do buy-to-lets, do it. But the skill sets aren't necessarily transferable. People come to me and they go, oh, I've done some buy-to-lets. I've got all my team and I'm ready to get into development. I go, your team, what have you got then? Oh, electricians, I've got a plasterer. You don't need any of that because we're talking about development. It's much more leverage. You've got a contractor. So that route is a load of old BS. You don't have to do that. If you want to, great, I respect you for that. Go and get it. Some really good companies out there train some of that stuff. But if you just want to be a developer, just be a developer. Oh, I'm getting quite hot under the collar here tonight.
Have we got anybody left on?
They're all on there. That's all good. That's all good.
Even the landlords, which is quite surprising.
Yeah, and they've just joined us as well. People are coming on.
Excellent. Okay, so that was well, sort of training myths, I suppose. Number 4, we're getting there.
Go on.
Oh, there's a bit of a.
Go on, hit me. Hit me with number 4.
First-time developers should definitely manage their own projects.
First-time developers should project manage their own projects. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
No.
Save a few quid, wouldn't it?
No, guys, you don't want to. Do you know? You don't want to do that. Okay, you don't want to do that. So who was on the session today? I know Joe was definitely. So a few of you might have been on the session with us today. Okay, we're doing some training today. We looked at an example today. Do you remember that, folks? Those that weren't there, I'll explain. We had a project management fee. If I remember, it's about 15,000, and I said, let's say it was 30 at the most. That's a huge amount of work that goes into earning, not making that 30,000 or 15,000 pounds. And the profit we did out of that scheme was about, I don't know, 400. So what would you rather spend your time on? Earning 15 to 30,000 pounds, earning, or making 400? Subtle difference there, okay? Making 400,000, and pay someone 15 or 30 to run it, to go to site every week, to write up all these blooming spreadsheets. And you know, if you're not a qualified project manager, you're going to do it. You're going to mess it up. Okay, that's why people are qualified out there. And even if you are a project manager, and I've worked with some very experienced industry professionals and trained them to be developers, and the project managers, you folks out there, I'm sure there's someone this evening, you're the world's worst, because you are one, a project manager. No one can do it as good as me. Of course they can. They can do it as good as you, as good enough. Okay. And the other thing is, and we talked about this today, and I won't say who, but we talked about it today on the session, and someone said, yeah, but my passion is project management. And I went, what if I give you 45 million quid? What would you do? And he went, I'd go, I can't remember where it was. Was it Monaco or Saint-Tropez? He said, I'll go to Saint-Tropez and I'm going to mess around on my yacht.
Do project management over there.
Yeah. Not once did he mention, and I'd like to do project management because I love it. No one loves project management that much. If I gave you 45 million quid, you'd be doing something else, okay? You would definitely be doing something else other than that. So yeah, it's all about what I want students to be, and anyone that wants to do development, if that's you out there, I want you to be super rich in one thing, okay? Super rich, and that's time, okay? If money comes as well, great, but the time is the important thing. You can't get that back. You can't get that back. We've had a comment. What about a small plot of land near a village, stroke town for the first time development? The land appears to be more affordable. No, I'll tell you what, hold on. No, you can't do that, okay? I don't care whether it's in a village or a small town. No, you don't want to do land development. Rewind this back. Listen to what I said. You don't want to do that. You don't want to do that. Promise you. Okay. And I'm looking after your best interest. Whew. Whew.
So sat on the fence on that one a bit, but okay. So well, mercifully, I think this is the last one.
Give it to me, the last one.
Okay. Are you sitting comfortably?
I don't think this is one that I get wound up about.
Okay. Well, you've had a quick look at it. Okay.
No, I'm listening. I'm listening.
This is basically people who say that they've got a relationship with a commercial agent when they haven't.
Okay. I just laughed because Jack's just said, I'm looking for pubs with land and I'm going to self-manage. Jack, you're a bad person, Jack. You're a bad person. So relationships with agents. So just give that to me again. What's my rant here?
Well, your rant is normally when people say that, well, I've got some great relationships with agents.
Oh, I
just don't seem to be getting any deals coming through.
Yeah, I tell you what, this is the biggest load of old BS again, poo, as Jan would say. She's quite posh. That students give us. Okay, students give us this. So if you're one of our students, you'll know this. If you're not one of our students and you become one of our students, you're going to get this as well. When you know, the thing is, if you can get good relationships with agents, okay, and build rapport and really get close to an agent, you're going to get deals. You were talking about that today on one of the training sessions. So you know, that's a great way to get deals. Get into the agent's black book. But to do that, you've got to build rapport. Okay, rapport. Write that down if you've got some paper. If not, just remember it, or I don't know, inscribe it on your head or something like that. Rapport is massively important. If you don't have rapport, you're not going to get anywhere. And to get rapport, you've got to know someone. Now, I say to people, so this is what happens. This is what Ian's picking up on. And I come off on one in the sessions. And I do mean good, but I want people to be successful. And what happens is I say, okay, so you're struggling to get deals. And they go, yeah, I'm really struggling. Have you got any relationships with agents? And they go, oh, yeah, I've got several. Okay, tell me about one of them. And they go, oh, okay, I know Bob Smith. Okay, he's an estate agent in Warwickshire. I go, okay, Bob, you know him well. Yeah, I've got a good relationship with Bob. And then I say, okay, so is Bob married? Oh, I don't know. Has Bob got any kids? Oh, I don't know, never asked him. What's Bob like to do in his spare time? Well, I don't know that. What's Bob's favourite meal? I don't know that. What's Bob's favourite drink? I don't know that. Well, then you haven't got a relationship with Bob. You don't know Bob at all. Yeah, but I do. I've got Bob's number and I can. You don't know Bob at all. What you need to do is build relationships. It's about knowing that stuff. And some people say, yeah, but I can't find all that out. That's personal. No, you're not asking personal information. And there's a way you do. There's a way we teach people. We teach people to do this stuff, and it is a little bit stalking in a way, but in a nice way. I don't mean like in a weird way, obviously not. But when you can find out about people, and you can find out what their likes and dislikes are, and you can find some common ground. I mean, there would be no point me trying to build rapport with Ian over fishing. He likes fishing. I mean, I know you think that's boring. Show of hands, who thinks fishing's boring? All the hands up. That's brilliant. You see, all the hands went straight up then. Okay, let me just drop the hands.
Thought they might.
But hands up if you like Formula One. Oh my word, all the hands straight up. That's unbelievable. So, but there would be no point me building a relationship with over fishing, because Ian would say, oh, I like fishing. I go, oh, I like fishing too. He said, what sort of fishing do you like? I go, just with with the rod. And I wouldn't have a clue, would I? And he would go, this bloke's a numpty. He doesn't. So you can't blag it, okay? Fishing in the open water, fantastic. Cheryl, what are you talking
Cheryl,
about?
You're talking my language. Let's have a little chat with Cheryl about open water fishing.
Cheryl, I could dismiss you. I have the power, okay? Cheryl, you don't want to do fishing. Cheryl, get out, enjoy life a little bit more. Don't do that, okay? Daddy has a boat. Oh, well, I like boats. Has it got an engine or cloth? Anyway, let's not get onto that. So what I think is important, if you're going to build a relationship, have a relationship. Students that say they've got a relationship and don't have a relationship, that's when I go off on a rant. Jeremy's just joined us. I wonder, Jeremy M. Is that Jeremy M of old? I haven't seen for years and years. I don't know. There's only one Jeremy M I know. I'm not going to read your surname. If it is, put it in the chat box. Let me know. That would be unusual. I haven't spoken to him for years.
Wow. He's already heard about you ranting. He's pretty worried about your health.
Maybe. So yeah, so don't say you've got a relationship if you haven't. And if you want to get one, learn how to get one. Whew, there's my five rants.
Well, I mean, let's all take a bit of a breather there. That was slightly more rantish than I was expecting, to be honest.
Well, you know.
Bit hot under the collar, but
I think the important thing, guys, is, and I think this has been a bit of fun. I know we'll take a few questions in a minute. I see lots of questions coming. We'll pick a few choice ones in a minute. But I do have a rant. I do go off on a rant, and I just give you my opinion. There's no point just telling you everything's great. Okay, development is entirely possible. It's hard work, yeah, it is. And you know, if you're going to come and get trained with us, there's no point me just sugarcoating stuff and say, oh, you're doing great, you're doing. If you're not, I need to kick you, give you a nice positive kick. And I retired 10 years ago. I do this because I want to do this, and I'm absolutely passionate about it. So this is why people know me. If they see me in the room, they go, yeah, he does speak his mind, he does have an opinion, and he does go off on a rant, all because the end goal is to get our students to be successful. And if I have to have a little rant, that's what I need to do. But it's all for positive things.
Yeah.
And I don't mind. I quite enjoy it. We got a question?
Yeah, we've got a few questions.
Go on then, pick one out. You can answer a question.
Let me just find out. Here's a few. F1, watching paint dry. No, here it is. One from Karen.
Oh, there's a bit of humour you're going on there, and I like that.
Yeah, be sure to point it out. Isn't it going to come across a bit nosy trying to find information about an agent? Isn't it a bit weird? Well, Karen, good evening. No, as Ritchie said, it is about building rapport. What I'd say, the best trick in the book really is when what you tend to do with agents is you're going to be talking to quite a few. So you want to have a kind of CRM system, a database where you're just keeping a record of obviously all the agent's details, and then when you've contacted them, what are the deals that they've given you, and also those bits of information that come up along the way where you do find out, you know, what football team they support or what you talk about, whatever. Because yeah, impossible, particularly if you've got a memory like mine, to remember from 1 week to the next what the conversation with that particular agent was necessarily. But if you've got it and you've written it down, then you can just refresh your memory before you go on the next call or before you meet them for lunch or whatever, and it will all come flooding back, and they'll be very impressed that you remembered what they were talking about the last time, and the fact that they support Man United and absolutely love fishing. There you go, Karen. I hope that helped.
Good stuff. Philip says MotoGP is far better than Formula One. Yeah, I think so. I think it's good. It's better than fishing as well, isn't it? Anyway, David says, what about if a pub has been empty for years? Any difference? No difference. David, no difference. If it's still classified as a pub, there's no difference, just because it's been empty for years. And do you know, if it's been empty that long, if it was a good deal and you could have converted it, some developer would have got in there straight away. So David, no, doesn't make any difference. Ian, what's another one? Let's see if we can cram a few more in.
Let's see what we got here. I'm assuming that I would need some, pardon, Robert, this is from Robert. Good evening. I'm assuming I would need some knowledge as the property CEO to be able to manage the technical team properly. How do I get started? Okay, yeah, so you do need a certain amount of information to be able to be the property CEO. So obviously what we teach is kind of how to play that role. As Ritchie was saying earlier, I think a lot of people do like to get into the detail, and they actually worry that they're going to have to get into the detail. And imagine turning up on site, not knowing a great deal, and having all these people walking around who know their stuff inside out and being a little bit like a fish out of water. But basically, you're going to be needing just kind of the basic skills that any CEO has really in terms of managing that team. So the project manager is the one that runs the project for you on site, but you kind of need those basic skills, for short management skills, organizational skills. You need to be on top of things, decision-making skills, because people will still come to you for a decision because it's your project. But you also need people skills, and that's in many respects probably the biggest one, is making sure that the team hangs together and that you can you can get on with people and forge relationships. But those skills are nice and generic. If you can overlay that with some property knowledge, so you understand the process, the end-to-end process, and how to do the bit that you've got to do, then yeah, the story should end well.
People skills, that's important. You want to go off on a rant? I am polite. I am polite.
There you go, Robert. I hope that helps.
Cara says, hello, Cara, good evening. She says, I have seen your YouTube video on pubs. It's great. Having listened to that, I have already decided I would not be looking at pubs. Great video. Yeah, Cara, nice comment. Thank you. If you go into YouTube, type in propertyCEO, loads of videos on there. There is one on pubs, and why not to convert pubs? So have a little look at that. Another question I was going to pick up there then, what was I going to say? I saw this one here. Are you saying, Ranjita says, are you saying that you can start straight into development and that you don't need to gain your experience on buy-to-lets, etc. to start with? That's exactly what I'm saying. Exactly it. If you feel that's important for you, great, go for it. But you know, for a lot of people, it isn't the right solution. If you really need that passive income, Ranjita, then maybe that is right. If you don't, and a lot of people that come to us have got some other income, other maybe careers or jobs going on or businesses, so you don't have to do it. Ranjita, and this is the same for anyone. If you're not sure whether this is right for you, whether you can just reach out to us. We give you some details at the end. Reach out to us. You can have a chat with one of our team, and we'll just give you an honest opinion whether that's right for you or not. But that's exactly what I'm saying, Ranjita. What else you got here?
Got one here from Jasmine. Good evening, Jasmine. What's the best way to approach professionals to get them to be part of your team? I'm concerned that they wouldn't listen to me as a new developer. Well, they will. If we look at the process that's involved from their perspective, it's pretty much that they're looking for new business. So new business falls into two types. There are the existing developers that have been doing it for a while, and then there are the new developers. And one of the big challenges that people have with old developers is that they retire and basically stop developing. So it's absolutely imperative that there's new developers coming along. And of course, there's a certain element of perhaps risk from their perspective, or do you know what you're doing? That's of course where you've got to get your ducks in a row and looking kind of professional out of the blocks. But you can do that partly because you've got the ability to kind of create this brand and have these other people, team members, professional team members that are going to be ultimately doing the work. So I'd also say be really, really clear about what it is that you're looking to do and be passionate about it as well. So it's your business, you're an entrepreneur. The fact that it's your first development is neither here nor there. It's not the first development for your professional team, not by a country mile. And of course, where they see one set of fees for your first project, if that's successful, they'll be thinking, well, there's going to be more sets of fees to come, because property developers that start developing tend to do a second project, third project, fourth project, and so on and so forth. So for them, it's a great opportunity to get some new clients, some new blood into their business. So they will absolutely listen to you, but you do need to kind of present yourself in the right way to make sure that you're giving them that confidence straight out of the blocks. Jasmine, I hope that helps.
Good stuff. Josh's question. Josh says, I do still think doing 2 or 3 new builds after finding a site is a safer route. It seems much simpler. Well, that's the problem, Josh. It seems simpler, but it's probably not. Okay. Great saying. You don't know what you don't know. You don't know what you don't know. When you know what you don't know, when you understand, I mean, in lots of ways, it does look simpler. And there are some simpler aspects, particularly when you get above the ground. But Josh, getting out of the ground is one problem. Any developer will tell you that. The British weather doesn't help, and we don't know what's below the ground. But it's getting the planning, okay? And even if it's got planning, what are you competing on? Just on price. And the one that wins it is probably the one that's got their numbers wrong. And I think the other thing as well, 2 or 3 new builds. Well, actually, the person that probably will win that is a builder that's not looking to make a profit markup. So, Josh, it does seem simpler, and I can understand that and appreciate that. But when you know what you don't know, you'll probably get that realization that it's not simpler. And it is definitely not. It's definitely got more risk to it. Let's see if we can just get a couple of more quick ones in here before we wrap up the evening show. What have you got? We've got a couple of quick ones there. I'll do one. You can do one.
Let me find one. This one's from Hannah. Good evening, Hannah. How can I find the best deals when I have no experience or knowledge? I am brand new. Well, there you go. You don't know what you don't know, Hannah. So welcome. And yeah, it's not just about finding opportunities. Obviously, it's kind of knowing what to actually do with them once you've found them. I think you definitely need some form of training. I would say, probably would say that, but that ultimately it's difficult to disassociate that from the role of you as a developer, because that's one of the big things that developers have to do is, we can get a load of other people doing lots of other stuff and delegate it, but actually finding deals is a massive part of the role of the developer. I think certainly one of the best places, and we've talked about it tonight in terms of finding deals, is being able to build those relationships with commercial agents. Whether you're looking at doing permitted development, conversions, or if I speak really quietly into you do new build, it doesn't matter what it is. Generally having relationships with people, it's a people business, so that's going to be a great place for you to look. I think also actually learning how to potentially find your own deals, so being able to source sellers directly. There's a whole raft of skill sets involved in doing that, but basically what you're doing is just trying to create an edge. So you're not competing directly with everybody that's looking on Rightmove. You are actually forging other relationships and getting a heads up on deals as they come in. But it's a big package that you've got to create there in terms of credibility and relationships with agents and being highly proactive. And I hope that helps, Hannah.
I'm sure it does. Last question off of Nicholas this evening. Nicholas says, I'm a project manager. Well done, Nicholas. I'm proud of you. And he said, and I'm sure your parents are. And he says, I don't think anyone can do the role as well as me, so I would want to run my own projects. I think that makes sense. Question mark.
Cool.
No, it doesn't, Nicholas, because it's about leverage and time. Okay. Maybe you're right. Maybe no one can do it as well as you, but can they do it 80, 90% as well as you? I suspect they can. And maybe that's good enough. Okay, at the end of the day, it's about earning or making money, earning or making money. And you're going to earn that money, Nicholas. You're going to earn that project management fee. And your time is going to be better spent looking for another project, not earning a project management fee. Just think about that. 80, 90%, that's good enough. You be the CEO of the property company. So no, it doesn't make sense. Sorry to break it to you, but that's just the way it is. I think we have near enough run out of time. We always like to finish about 1:45. We're just a couple of minutes over. That's your fault because the sound wasn't working to start with, and who knows what went on there. Technical glitch, but we got to sort it.
I thought you fixed it by switching something on.
I must have switched something on or switched something off. Who knows? I do apologise for all the questions that we didn't answer. I can see lots in the chat box. But you're going to have to come back next year. Please pop in the chat box if you enjoyed tonight's show. If you didn't, then we'll put that in there as well, but I won't read that out. If you did enjoy the show, pop in the chat box. Let us know that you enjoyed it, because we do this show for you. We don't need to be here. We've got.
We do have homes to go to.
Well, actually, we don't. She's thrown me out, so I've got to sleep in the studio tonight. But yeah, I'll be okay.
Does that explain the sleeping bag over there?
That does, yeah. Anyway, pop in the chat box if you enjoyed the show. We won't now be back till next year.
God, that's a long time, isn't it?
And I think the 13th of January, we won't be back on the first week of January. A lot of people are away there skiing. I'm not. But 13th of January, we will be back Thursday the 13th at 7 o'clock. Okay. If anyone wants to reach out to us, I know we were talking about that earlier, then please just drop an email to support@propertyceo.co.uk if you want to have a chat and think, can I get straight into development? Is it for me? And equally, if you are interested, if you want to spend, and I don't know why you would, but if you want to spend a half day with us completely for free, propertyCEO, write this down, propertyceo.co.uk / this is simple now, SFR /SFR. We're running some sessions. I think there's some on Tuesday, maybe Wednesday next week, a free half-day session with us. There might be some others. Pop on there. You can come and spend a bit of time with us, and we talk about development. Have you enjoyed the show?
Well, I think so. And by the way, if you do join us for the half-day session, there's no rants. I think, in fact, I'm hoping that might actually be the last rant of the year.
Might not be. Who knows? Who knows? Anyway, great to have you here. This time next year when we're in the studio, Ian will be back in his own studio. I'm fed up of him encroaching in here. It's my studio. I'm going to have to clean sweep the place up afterwards. Let's see what you all said. Who said what? Really enjoyed it. Loved the show. I've got electric and wouldn't recommend. Oh, that was earlier. I don't know why I'm saying that again. Blimey. Teresa says, oh dear, I don't think we should end this year with Ritchie's questions and leave Ritchie in a state. No, you're not. I'm not. I'm all calmed down now, Teresa. That was from a bit earlier as well. So the final comments, here we go. Let's have a look. Many thanks, says Pardeep. I'm off to look for land assembly sites when I can build a pub on it, which I will convert to residential. Pardeep, you're a bad person as well. Jack says, thanks, guys, and Merry Christmas. Merry Christmas to you. Cheers and thanks, says Cheryl. Ramika says, thank you very much. have a nice evening. Oh, yeah, thank you. Well, we'll have a nice evening. That's very kind of you. Kara says, thanks, great show. See you next year. Chris says, love the show. Great fun as always. Please do calm down. Have a wonderful break. Maltese Falcon, i.e. Dom, says, looking forward to seeing you both next year. Alison and Dom. Oh, you're both there. That's lovely. What a nice, sweet thing that is. And the final comment, Dan says, great show, gents. See you in January 2022. See you in January 2022. Goodbye now. Have a good evening. Bye-bye.